When you think of the legendary voices that defined an era, one name always stands out with a burst of energy and soul. That name is Lulu. For over 60 years, she has been a spark of light in the music industry, known for her powerful voice, her tiny frame, and her incredible ability to make an audience jump to their feet. From the moment she burst onto the scene as a teenager in the 1960s, she was a superstar. But lately, there has been a lot of talk and even some worry about where this icon is today. As she reaches the age of 77, fans are looking at her life and her current living situation with a sense of sadness. They are asking how a woman who gave so much to the world ended up in her current position. Today, we are going to take a deep look at the life of Lulu, her rise to fame, her struggles behind the scenes, and the truth about where she is living now. Make sure you stay with us until the very end of the video, because we are going to show you the reality of her daily life today, and it might just change the way you think about what it means to grow old in the spotlight. To understand the story of Lulu, we have to go back to her roots in Glasgow, Scotland. She was born Marie MacDonald McLaughlin-Laurie, but the world would soon know her by just one name. She didn't come from a wealthy family, she came from a working-class background where people had to fight for everything they had. Lulu had a voice that was way too big for her small body, and by the time she was 12, she was already singing in clubs. Her big break came when she was just 15 years old with the song, Shout. It was a massive hit that turned her into an overnight sensation. Suddenly, this young girl from Scotland was rubbing shoulders with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. She was the it girl of London, known for her stylish clothes, her bright smile, and that voice that sounded like pure fire. The 1960s were a dream for Lulu. She won the Eurovision Song Contest, she had her own television shows, and she even starred in movies. Who could forget her in To Sir, With Love? That movie and its theme song made her a superstar in America too. She was living the high life, staying in the best hotels, wearing the most expensive fashion, and earning a lot of money. She married Maurice Gibb of the Bee Gees, and for a while, they were one of the most famous couples in the world. They lived in beautiful homes and were surrounded by glamour. To the public, it looked like Lulu was living a fairy tale. But as we often see with child stars, the pressure of staying at the top can be very heavy. As the years went by, Lulu's life changed in many ways. Her marriage to Maurice ended, and she eventually married a famous hairstylist named John Frieda. They had a son together, and for a long time, family became her main focus. But even as she stepped away from the charts, the public always expected her to live like a queen. People have this idea that once you are a superstar, you will always live in a mansion with servants and luxury. However, the music business is not always kind to its legends. Contracts can be tricky, and the money that looks huge in the beginning doesn't always last forever. Lulu continued to work hard, touring and appearing on TV, but the massive wealth of the 1960s started to feel like a distant memory. This brings us to the present day and the headlines that have made fans feel so sad. Lulu is now 77 years old. In a world that is obsessed with being young, getting older can be a very lonely and difficult experience, especially for someone who was once the center of attention. Recently, reports have surfaced about her living situation. Instead of the giant mansions people remember from her younger days, Lulu is living a much more modest and quiet life. For some people, seeing a legend downsize is a sign of sadness. They see it as a loss of status or a sign that she has been forgotten by the industry that once loved her. It is hard for fans to see their hero living in a regular home, away from the bright lights and the luxury they feel she deserves. But there is more to this story than just the size of a house. Growing older means making choices about what really matters. Lulu has been very open lately about her health and her energy. She recently announced her farewell tour, telling her fans that the grueling schedule of traveling and performing is becoming too much for her. At 77, she wants to focus on her health and her family. She has dealt with health issues like pneumonia and the wear and tear that comes with 60 years of performing. This decision to step back is a huge moment for her. It is an admission that she is human and that she needs rest. To some, this is the saddest part of all, the realization that the voice that once shouted so loud is finally getting quiet. If you are still watching, you are probably starting to feel the weight of her journey. It is a story we see many times in Hollywood and the music world. We build these stars up to be gods, and then we feel a sense of grief when we realize they are just like us. Lulu's current home might not be a palace, but it is the place where she is trying to find peace. She spends a lot of time with her grandchildren, who she calls the lights of her life. She has moved away from the busy, noisy streets of central London to a place that is more manageable for her. While some call it sad, others might see it as a woman finally taking control of her own happiness after decades of serving the public. One of the reasons fans feel so strongly about this is the contrast between Lulu and her peers. Some stars from the 60s managed to keep their giant estates and their massive wealth, while others have struggled. When we see Lulu today, we see the reality of a working artist. She has had to keep working well into her 70s to maintain her life. She hasn't been able to just sit back and relax. This huge effort she puts in is inspiring, but it also makes people feel for her. They wish she could just rest without having to worry about the next show or the next paycheck. The industry can be very cold to older women, and Lulu has had to fight for every opportunity she has had in recent years. Lulu's personal life has also seen a lot of loss. Many of the friends and colleagues she started with are gone now. When you reach the age of 77, your circle starts to get smaller. This sense of loneliness is something she has touched on in interviews. She has spoken about the struggle of living alone and the importance of staying connected to her family. For a woman who was once surrounded by thousands of screaming fans, the silence of a quiet home can be deafening. This is what many people find sad, not just the physical house she lives in, but the isolation that often comes with being a legend in her later years. However, we promise to show you a different side of this story if you stayed until the end. While the word sad is used a lot, Lulu herself has a very different perspective. She has recently been sharing more of her life on social media, showing her fans that she is still full of spirit. She does her exercises, she eats healthy, and she stays positive. She has said that she is done with the pressure of trying to look young and act like a superstar all the time. She is embracing the simpler life she has now. She views her smaller living space not as a failure, but as a way to simplify her life so she can focus on what makes her soul happy. The truth is, Lulu is a survivor. She has seen the highs and the lows, and she is still standing. The sadness that fans feel is often a reflection of their own fear of getting older. We don't want to see our icons age because it reminds us that we are aging too. But Lulu is showing us how to do it with honesty. She isn't pretending to be a billionaire, she is showing us the life of a woman who has worked hard and is now looking for a quiet place to land. Her farewell is not just to her fans, but to the constant need to be big and loud. She is finding beauty in the quiet moments, and that is a very powerful thing. As we reach the conclusion of this video, we want to look at the legacy she is leaving behind. Lulu will always be the girl who made the world shout. Her music will live on forever, and her influence on other singers is huge. No matter where she lives or how small her house might be, her place in history is safe. She has taught us that you can come from nothing, reach the very top, and still stay true to yourself. The fact that she is choosing a more modest life today shows that she has learned what is truly valuable. It isn't the gold records or the big mansions, it is the love of your family and the peace in your heart. What is your favorite Lulu memory? Is it her singing, Shout, her Eurovision win, or her role in To Sir, with Love? Let us know how her music has touched your life. She has given us so much joy, and it is wonderful to see her still active and sharing her truth with the world. We hope she finds all the peace and happiness she deserves in her new chapter. Stay tuned for more stories about the legends of music and film, and we will see you in the next video.